Hey guys, it is Chels from Blueberry Funded. Today we'll be doing another market breakdown for this week. I'm currently looking at my economic calendar for the week, and it looks like this week is a really good week to trade. Every day so far is safe to trade. There's no high impact news until Friday. Friday is the only day this week that there is red folder news. So just be cautious on that. There is CPI as well as PMI on Friday. Personally, for me, I like to stop my weeks early, so I'll typically stop trading around Thursday, and Friday is not really a no-go for me, or it depends if I took any trades Thursday during Asian session. But if not, and it looks good to me, I'll still trade any red folder news when it comes to that. But for the most part, every day this week so far is a really good trading day, not having to be super cautious until Friday. So let's get into the charts here, guys. I do have GBPUSD pulled up here. And if you guys remember from the last market breakdown last week, I still have this zone up here marked, obviously for price to come into. Hasn't gotten there just yet. But I did mark last week this level around, let's say 1.32, 525 to 530 area. And it looks like price tapped into it perfectly. Okay, so this was the reaction that I was waiting on. This was a nice tap to the downside, just to sweep liquidity, and we had that good reaction to the upside. We did break internal highs here, so this is where I start to believe that now we're starting to shift to the upside and potentially getting in that tap around 1.36 thousand area here. I also did mention last week that I did see some liquidity starting to get built up here, which it looks like price eventually will break through this as well, right? So this was a beautiful move to the upside on GBPUSD. So again, just watching these levels, but as of right now, because we did have this reaction here at this level, I am seeing GBPUSD push higher, potentially targeting 1.36 thousand. So that's going to be the targets for now on GU. Moving to US 30. US 30 still super bullish, guys. We did have this flush out and correction back into 45,600 area. And price is pretty much holding pretty nicely here. I do look on the line chart. We do have a test right here. This previous low ended up sweeping liquidity and tapping into that previous low that it created before the break. So I'm currently looking at price to continue breaking all-time highs here. So again, we have trend line liquidity being built up to the upside. I do pay attention a lot to liquidity pools and just liquidity being built over time and being created. So I am looking towards price continuing to break all-time highs. So definitely targeting to around 47,000 for US 30. As of right now, price is pushing, so don't really want to get into any positions, but potentially during Asian, we could get that pullback into London and then continue buys into New York for the next session. So currently, again, just looking at that, super bullish on US 30. Again, this price and area ended up holding fairly nicely, around 45,600, and again to target all-time highs again. And then when we go to gold, I know gold during Asian going into London and New York finally started pushing up again. Again, we had that correction to end out the week last week. Price ended up holding at this area here at around 42.50 to 42.25 area. So we got this nice reaction here. Again, held pretty nicely. No lows has been broken, right? So I think at this point, when we had that sell off at the ending of last week, people thought that we were going to continue selling. But again, that's why it's so important to wait for candlestick closures, especially on the higher time frame, because it did show at one point we were looking to break this previous low here, but because the 4-hour in price ended up closing above this previous low, that gives us a good indication that we may have just grabbed liquidity and then targeting the opposite end, right? Now, as far as gold, I do believe it's still going to break all-time highs. However, we do have this one area where it's currently at. We do want to see if there may be any potential reactions at 43.60. So this area could give us a potential pullback to end off New York, but then we could continue those buys during Asian session. So just kind of looking out for those. Again, US 30 gold has been super bullish up until this point, and definitely don't want to go against the trend until we start seeing lows on the higher time frame for gold starting to break. Other than that, guys, I'm not looking. I haven't traded at market open, so if anything, those would be some positions that I would be looking for. Potential short-term pullback on gold again, and maybe buys during Asian session again. But if this high ends up holding and we do get a break of internal structure, we could see it push to the downside again short term. I wouldn't see any long-term sells until around 4,200 has been broken, right? And we need a volume push to the downside for this break. I need to see a strong break in structure for me to consider it more long-term sells. And then, of course, US 30, again, still pushing to the upside. And I do believe that we will take out all this liquidity here, again, targeting around 47,000 highs on US 30. So that is currently what I'm looking at for this week, guys. We'll definitely see how they play out. So far, GU has been playing out to the T. It's been a really good setup from last week. And I wish you guys a cautious and I wish you guys a really good trading week. I'll catch you guys next week.